How to change your life one tiny step at a time. Regarding altering your life for the better. There is, often, a disconnect between who you are and who you want to be. At times, it seems as though you must alter who you are in order to fulfill your objectives. Consistently making more of an effort demonstrates discipline and willpower. Myth: if you don't succeed, it's because you didn't want it bad enough. You get more and more annoyed and frustrated with yourself with each failed attempt. If you think hustle and success are your fault, the internet. If you don't succeed, it's because you weren't motivated enough. And the fault is all yours. Truth: change is challenging. Understanding the reasons behind something is helpful in most situations in life. On realizing why change is challenging, how and why your brain forms routines to save energy. Paths in the jungle. Think of your brain as a thriving, complex jungle. It's like navigating through a real jungle when you're trying to decide what to do, like say, decide to do something. It demands energy and is challenging. Your brain developed a technique because it detests using energy. In the maze of your brain, every action and behavior leaves a trail. You move down some plants and improvise a few crude pathways through the bush as you begin your task. We frequently follow our established patterns. The trail gets more obvious the more often you do the thing. It eventually becomes a path that is simpler to follow. As a result, you use it more frequently, and it becomes a street. The street becomes a motorway as you perform the same thing repeatedly for years. It becomes simple, comfortable, and familiar to navigate. The more pronounced your brain highways are, the more accustomed you become to them. As a result, we continue to use them, which means we frequently act in the same way. This explains why change is difficult. When your brain highways, habits and routines, become more evident, you grow accustomed to their comfort and continue to use them. The highways in the brain: we must first comprehend habits and routines in order to comprehend how they are formed and maintained. Doing what is right, even though it is painful, according to routine, or the wise planner. A series of acts that you repeat the same way each time because they've been successful for you is referred to as a routine. For instance, you purchase the same components for your preferred cuisine and arrange them in a particular sequence because you enjoy the flavor of the finished product. Or you set an alarm for 6:30 in the morning before going to bed since that's when you want to wake up. The smart organizer. It moves slowly and carefully. Responsible for planning and making computations in the mind. The planner is cognizant of the future and carefully takes into account the kinds of outcomes you desire. Based on that, it decides which activities to take, even inconvenient ones like having a shower right after getting out of bed, in order to attain particular results. Routines are more deliberate and more preoccupied with the future than the present. Habits can develop from routines. The Toddler's habits, an automatic routine. Routines can eventually develop into habits that feel much simpler because they are essentially a series of acts performed automatically. Habits: you've practiced a pattern so frequently that your brain views them as rewarding. It sees them as a fantastic response to a particular scenario. Situation-specific triggers and context cues. Habits can make you feel like you're operating automatically. Something that is a habit is something you just do. You don't need to persuade yourself to do it. Habits are started by triggers, context signals that can be discrete items or complete circumstances that provide a signal to your brain to begin the behavior or action. Examples: your life is full of triggers already. Just as you almost always unlock your phone screen when you see it, or grasp for your seatbelt when you get into a car, or before work when you buy your coffee. Furthermore, despite not actually being hungry, you are given a cookie. The toddler. Habits, more impulsive in nature. Habits are carried out by an impetuous toddler. It responds to your immediate needs based on your environment without taking any longer-term objectives into account. They have deeper subconscious concerns and prioritize the here and now over the future. The future is a myth, and it despises laborious labor. For the young child, the future is a myth, and it despises laborious labor. Therefore, when it detects a trigger, it directs you to travel along this simple route inside your brain that ends in a known satisfying outcome. The youngster wants the cookie if you get coffee because that's what you do every morning. The majority of your harmful habits probably began out with this satisfying feeling. Like how delicious chocolate is. It's occasionally moderately interesting to browse Reddit. Rewarding sentiments associated with an action demand to be repeated is how unhealthy habits begin. This is why you continue to do these things, even when they are unhealthy for you. The gratifying effects of an activity drive repetition, which leads to the development of a poor habit. It is just as significant as the wise planner to say, the toddler, sounds like a built-in sabotage device. The toddler and the wise planner can cooperate and need one another. Routine, meeting obstacles. Cognizant effort, the astute scheduler, parallel parking, filing your taxes, and having huge ideas. However, it would be too energy-intensive to let your clever planner handle everything. Energy conservation behavior. Energy-saving tactics. Subconscious effort, your brain manages your daily life too easily while coping with more difficult mental challenges at the same time when you outsource monotonous and repetitive activities to habits maintained by the child. We can use our energy-saving system to adopt new or modify old habits in our life. How? Prioritize little things first. Even if you simply manage to add a few new or somewhat better things to your repertoire, that is still a triumph. Being slightly healthier or more informed is far preferable to being dissatisfied about something and doing nothing to change it. Later on. Change is a journey, not a place. How to create a habit to change yourself or make the changes you want to make. By deliberately creating a routine, you can subvert your predisposition to use energy-saving mechanisms by finally allowing your subconscious to relax. The greatest method to make change easier might not be to force it with willpower, but rather to persuade your brain that it's not that big of an issue by establishing new routines and habits. Habit formation is a two-step process. Phase 1. Define and design future outcome. Consciously build the first trail with your intelligent planner. Clearly state your objective. State your broad objective. For instance, get fit. Clearly state why you value achieving this goal. Put it in writing. B. Create the routine. Dissect your goal into distinct, concise, manageable tasks or steps. Why? Making the activity itself as simple as feasible as a threshold, beginning point, is the goal. The steps should be so little, easy to follow, and precise that you don't need to give them much conscious thought. A concrete, controllable action might be performing 10 squats each morning. Leverage your subconscious in phase 2. Use your little child to easily start the action. C. The start button. Clearly specify the trigger mechanism for your routine. It is a signal to your youngster that is unmistakably connected to the actions in your specially crafted routine. They can be visual cues like seeing a certain object, like your exercise gear, or a specific time of day, or a specific location, like a local park, or even better, all of these things combined. By building a context for your routine, you can turn it into a habit that is started when you enter the setting you built. For instance, therefore, you might make sure to always perform 10 squats at the same time, in the same location, with your exercise equipment on, like your living room at home, in order to develop a home workout habit. D. Review the situation and perform the same activities. A path, routine, leading to a road, habit. All you need to do after determining your trigger and action is repeat them frequently, ideally daily. They will transform from a routine to a habit, from a trail to a motorway, if you keep going. C. Appealing by implication. Connect the bad habit to other enjoyable activities. To make it simpler to repeat your new move and increase the likelihood that the child will learn it. Try to make it more delightful by improving the action or conduct. Like only listening to your preferred podcast while exercising or working on your taxes, as an example. Whilst you wait for civilization, the following round is loading. You must ascertain what is effective for you. It's straightforward but challenging things to keep in mind as you go. Wavering? Trust the process. You must trust this process like you would any other bodily function, such as breathing, now that you are aware of its purpose and how it operates. Making the tasks in your routine simpler is only one aspect of developing habits. They involve using your innate defenses to assist you deal with the worries that arise when you start anything new or make adjustments. Working with rather than against your brain. Starting is simple, keeping up daily effort is challenging. As you progress, it gets simpler and more positive. Every person has a different threshold for when a routine becomes a habit. It might take anything from 15 to 250 days for a new habit to become automatic in response to a trigger. So be reasonable with your expectations, give yourself some wiggle room, and be forgiving of yourself when you mess up. Remember to start small, control expectations, and use failure as an opportunity to reevaluate your why and improve your method. Even if you simply manage to add a few new or somewhat better things to your repertoire, that is still a triumph. Being slightly healthier or more informed is far preferable to being dissatisfied about something and doing nothing to change it. Later on, change is a journey, not a place.